He's the former foreign policy director under Margaret Thatcher. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure to be here.
I really enjoyed your recent op-ed in the Telegraph. I got to tell you, you talked about how the U.S. will likely be in a stronger position 4 years from now. You write, America has an opportunity to undergo an economic renaissance, sparking a bonfire of taxes and regulations that presently suppress growth. Walk us through it, Nile. How does that happen?
Well, firstly, thanks very much, Maria. And I do see, tremendous opportunity for the United States over the next 4 years. This is a real period, frankly, of hope, actually, for America at home and abroad. And I believe that the United States needs a real economic revolution, similar to the revolution that Ronald Reagan ushered in the 1980s here in America, but also the one that Margaret Thatcher brought in Great Britain. And as I mentioned in my op-ed piece, America really needs a bonfire of burdensome regulations that have been limiting economic freedom in America. We need to see the corporate tax rate cut down to 15%. We need to bring jobs into the United States. We need to attract a great deal of foreign investment, but also bring back American companies who would like to see a far lower tax rate here in the United States. And America can avoid the fate of the European Union. The EU is going in completely the opposite direction. We are seeing this huge sort of big government mindset across the Atlantic in Europe. Barack Obama has been importing that big government mindset here in the United States. We have a tremendous opportunity to roll back the frontiers of big government in the coming years. So a tremendous opportunity, I think, for America. And that's what, at the end of the day, what most Americans deeply, deeply care about is about the economic prosperity and well-being of their country.
Well, that's certainly what the election was about, right? I mean, most people forget what has happened in the last 10 years. I mean, the deficit alone, the debt doubling from $10 trillion to almost $20 trillion, James.
Yeah, and the growth has slowed, and that's what makes that debt so difficult to manage. I think about Reagan and Thatcher cutting taxes, cutting regulation, really starting a worldwide revolution. Now the world's much more competitive, and I guess I would wonder for Nile, how much do we have to reform our tax code? Because obviously the congressional Republicans aren't taking that rate down quite as low as Trump does in his plan. You've got your friends in the UK now going to from 20 to 17% on the corporate tax rate. How big and bold does the Trump tax reform need to be?
I think it does need to be big and bold. And without a doubt, if you have a lower tax regime, you are going to advance economic prosperity. And it's vitally important that the new U.S. administration advance a very robust, bold tax-cutting agenda, which is going to create jobs. It's also going to act as an incentive for greater foreign investment into the United States as well, and freeing the economy. Getting government off the backs of individuals really is the recipe for a tremendous economic success and revival. And I do believe that we are witnessing actually the end of the liberal era here in America, and also internationally as well, with conservative free market ideas now in the ascendancy. And that's why I believe that there is tremendous hope and opportunity for America in the coming years.
Now, it's Dagan McDowell. How worried, though, are you that this tax reform and the tax cutting plan gets bogged down? Very small window for Republicans to get this done.
That's an extremely good point, and there's no doubt about it. I think the left will be trying to undermine any sort of real tax reform agenda. But I believe, though, with the tremendous Republican surge in the recent elections, that there is tremendous momentum, not only in Washington but also across the country, really, for a strong tax-cutting agenda. That's certainly what the American people have voted for. And on both sides of the Atlantic, here in the United States and in Great Britain, I believe that voters are opting for low-tax policies. They're opting for policies that advance economic liberty and freedom. And I do believe that if the left tries to undermine this agenda, this movement towards economic liberty, in the long run, they're going to be the losers here. There is a real economic revolution on both sides of the Atlantic.
And they've already lost all those Senate seats and all those governorships. Let me ask you real quick, Niall, CEOs from Bayer and Monsanto met with Trump yesterday to try to get his approval for their proposed merger. Monsanto released this statement. Werner Baumann, Bayer CEO, and Hugh Grant, Monsanto CEO, had a productive meeting with President-elect Trump and his team to share their views on the future of the agriculture industry and its need for innovation. What do you think? Would a merger like this create jobs or cut jobs?
Well, that's an extremely good point. I mean, all I would say is that anything that results in a reduction in regulations, anything that results in the freeing of the American economy and American companies is going to be good for prosperity. And let's see a bonfire of regulations. The Obama administration has tried to suffocate, frankly, the American economy with a huge amount of federal regulation. With the removal of these regulations, we are going to see real economic growth. And I believe that the future for the United States is certainly a very optimistic one in terms of the economy.
All right, we will leave it there. Niall, good to see you. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.
We'll be watching the developments. Nile Gardiner there. Coming up next, President-elect Trump is responding to Russia allegations by slamming the intelligence community. We've got